What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay guys, so we are going to actually continue our coverage over the Battle of the Cowl storyline. Now remember, when it comes to the Battle of the Cowl storyline, it was this Batman event that took place right after Final Crisis, maybe a couple months after Final Crisis. But with this event right here, it comes right out of Final Crisis, because in that event written by Grant Morrison, you saw the death of Batman, which was honestly huge, because now you're talking about the idea that Batman is dead. Gotham's #1 protector is no longer around. And so with the Battle of the Cowl storyline, the big question was, who is going to be the next Batman? And with that, what's happening right now with Gotham without their #1 protector? And so that was the whole point of Battle of the Cowl storyline. Now, what we have been doing on my channel lately when it comes to the Battle of the Cowl storyline is that we have been covering the main story, but also covering the tie-ins as well, to kind of give you guys the complete package of the Battle of the Cowl storyline, an omnibus, but in video form. Now, with that being said though, in my videos, we always try to cover at least 3 issues of the overall story for Battle of the Cowl, which means that we do jump over to different series in this event. So for example, today's video, we're going to cover the last 2 tie-ins we need to cover, but also the last chapter for the main story of Battle of the Cowl. So in this video, it's going to contain Azeral Death's Dark Knight #3, Orcale the Cure #3, and Battle of the Cowl #3. These are the last 3 books we have to cover, and then we're done with Battle of the Cowl. And then we jump into Batman and Robin, written by Grant Morrison. Now, guys, I'm telling you guys, the ending for Battle of the Cowl is amazing, but that's the last book we're gonna cover. But with that being said, guys, I do hope you enjoy, but here is Azeral Death's Dark Knight #1 to kick off this video. And so getting into Azeral Death's Dark Knight #3, we actually do pick up with Azeral fighting against Nightwing. Now, you have to remember, this is a new Azeral. This is Michael Lane. John Paul Valley died a while back. With that being said, when it comes to Michael Lane, this is not his first appearance. Matter of fact, he first appeared back in the early parts of Grant Morrison's Batman run, where you had Grant Morrison kind of introduce this idea where you had the GCPD in the military think about the idea that what would happen to Gotham if Batman died. And so they took 3 police officers, trained those police officers to make them be the next Batman just in case Bruce Wayne Batman ever died. And Michael Lane was one of those 3 Batmen who were being trained. Now, when it came to Michael Lane, he was kind of like the Antichrist Batman. Now, Michael Lane was actually defeated by Bruce Wayne Batman when Michael Lane was going around being the Antichrist Batman. Either way, after he was defeated by Bruce Wayne Batman, Michael Lane was then confronted by the Order of Purity. Now, the Order of Purity is actually a group of people that broke away from the Order of St. Dumas. Because remember, the Order of St. Dumas is the reason why we had the original Azeral. This guy who believed that he was doing God's work in Gotham City because the Order of St. Dumas told him that. But the Order of Purity kind of looked at the Order of St. Dumas and going in the wrong direction and what they should be trying to do when it comes to helping out the world, especially Gotham. And so you had a group of people break away, made their own order, which is the Order of Purity. And of course, they recruited their own Azeral, Michael Lane. And so that is how Michael Lane became the new Azeral. Now, the reason why Nightwing is here and fighting against Azeral is because Nightwing heard about the idea that there is somebody going around killing off police officers. But on top of that, he also heard that there is a new Azeral. And so he was wondering, is the new Azeral our new cop killer? And so this is Nightwing right now fighting against Azeral. The problem is, though, Michael Lane has no idea what Nightwing is actually talking about, because Michael Lane is not the one going around killing police officers. But then we pick up with Detective Bullock. Now, when we do, we actually see Detective Bullock right now trying to figure out who is the cop killer, who's going around killing off cops. Now, Detective Bullock went to a nearby church. Now, at that church, before Bullock got there was a fight. It was Michael Lane and the Order of Purity fighting against Talia al Ghul and her group of men. And so with that, when police arrived, they found a dead body, and that was it. And so you have Bullock right now saying, okay, listen, I know there were cameras that were pointed to the front door of that church, meaning that if anybody left the church, we should see them on the camera. The problem was, though, he gave that task over to another police officer named Forelli. And Forelli did watch the tapes, and he saw Michael Lane walk out of that church. But Forelli felt bad for Michael Lane because he knows the entire history of Michael Lane, which I'll explain again later on in this video. But when Forelli saw Michael Lane, he said, oh my gosh, no. That man went through a lot already. I'm going to lie to Detective Bullock and say, I watched the cameras. No one came out, even though Michael Lane did come out of that church. Now, the next page, we actually do see Jason Todd right now being the new Batman of Gotham. Now, the reason why they're focusing on Jason Todd in this story is because what he's actually wearing. He's wearing the Antichrist Batman suit, the one Michael Lane wore earlier in Grant Morrison's Batman run. Now, the reason why Jason Todd is doing that, because it's Jason Todd declaring that he is the new Batman of Gotham as he goes around shooting people left and right, bad people only. But because he does that, he does run by Michael Lane's sister-in-law and his niece. And so when they see this Antichrist Batman running around, you actually have his niece say, oh my God, it's Uncle Michael, Mom. He's out there being Batman again. But in reality, it's not Michael. It's actually Jason Todd right now running around being the supposed new Batman of Gotham City. But then we get back over to the Order of Purity. Now, the Order of Purity was actually there with Michael Lane as they were fighting against Talia al Ghul and her group of men. And so right now you have the Order of Purity kind of freaking out because police is all over that church, and the priest is actually part of the Order of Purity. And so right now you having the other members tell the priest that he is going to lie to the police officers about what happened in that church, because right now the Order of Purity, it has to stay hidden. But on top of that, so does Michael Lane and even Talia al Ghul as well. And so right now they're going to sit down and rehearse what the priest is going to tell the cops about what happened in his church. And so then we jump over to Nightwing and Azeral. Now, when we do, we actually see that the two characters are no longer fighting against each other. And the reason why, because Nightwing realized that Azeral is actually innocent, that he did nothing wrong. He is not the cop killer. And the reason why, because the armor of sorrows. Now remember, the armor of sorrow is what Azeral is wearing right now to be Azeral. But here is the thing about the armor of sorrow, that if you wear it too long, you go insane. And so that means the people who wore before Michael Lane, they all went insane. Especially the last guy. The last guy who wore it before Michael Lane is the one who has been going around killing off cops left and right, not Michael Lane. And so Nightwing realized, oh, you're innocent. Like literally, you're innocent. And now I realize I'm in the wrong. Okay, cool. But then you have Nightwing say he does know about how Michael Lane fought against Talia al Ghul and was able to get away from Talia al Ghul. Now, while you have the two characters talking to one another, that is the moment Orcale tells Nightwing about a new Batman appearing in Gotham City, of course being Jason Todd. But when she shows Nightwing and Azeral on the computer screen, Azeral realized that Jason Todd has taken his old Antichrist Batman suit. Now, Azeral has no idea who Jason Todd is, but he does know now that someone is wearing his old Antichrist Batman suit. Now, you have Dick Grayson actually knock out Michael Lane, and the reason why, because he is going to give him some kind of drug to make him forget about everything he saw when it came to the Bat family. Because it seems like Michael Lane knows a lot about the Bat family, especially the location of the Bat Cave. Because remember, the armor of sorrow that Talia had originally was given over to Bruce Wayne, but then it was taken out of the Batcave, and that means someone knew where the Batcave was actually located at. And so to make sure that Michael Lane never finds the Batcave ever again, this drug is going to help him forget about where the Batcave actually is at. Now, you do have Nightwing actually meet up with Talia al Ghul, and you have Nightwing make a deal with Talia, and he tells Talia, what's going to happen right now? You are going to let Michael Lane keep the armor of sorrow to continue on to be Azeral. And if you don't do that, don't worry, Talia, I'm not Bruce. I will fight you, and I will kick your butt, because unlike Bruce, I don't find you that attractive and get weak to my knees when you walk into the room. And so with that, if you try to do anything to Michael Lane, I'll stop you. Now, if Michael Lane does go insane like the other people before him who have all worn the armor of sorrow, then I'll step in and stop him. But for right now, leave him alone. And so then we jump over to Michael Lane. Now, when we do, we actually see Michael Lane right now waking up in his apartment. But when he does wake up, he does see that the armor of sorrow was left in his apartment, along with a note that was left behind by Nightwing. And it was Nightwing saying that, I'm leaving the armor behind for you. But if you mess up, I will come back, take it away, and beat you down. And so this is my only warning for you, Michael Lane, to become the new Azeral. Now, after that, that is the moment he hears a knock on the door, and it is his sister-in-law. Now remember, when it comes to Michael Lane, he lost a lot of family members, his brothers, his son, his wife, they all died in a very short period of time. And that was why he was chosen to become one of the 3 Batmen, because he went through so much loss. Now, when it comes to the sister-in-law, she lost her husband, his brother. And so she's kind of like, I want to be there with you. I want to grieve with you. We should be together because we are technically family. I have your niece. And so he does let her in, but it shows that really these 2 people needed each other because they both lost someone they love, but then they end up having some fun time as well. And so Michael Lane is now technically dating his sister-in-law. Now, we kind of find out that the Order of St. Dumas and the Order of Purity is actually controlled by one particular person, and that person is Ra's al Ghul. We kind of find out that 1, the dude is back in Gotham again, but 2, he's the one in control of the Order of Purity and the Order of St. Dumas. That where the Order of St. Dumas and the Order of Purity believe that they're doing God's work, in reality, they're doing Ra's al Ghul's work. But then we jump back over to the Order of Purity. Now, right now you have the Order of Purity kind of celebrating the idea that they were able to get away with what they have done so far in this storyline, and they believe they're in the clear. But that is the moment they are confronted by Michael Lane. And you do have Michael Lane kind of wonder, what can they do for him that would make him not kill them off? And so they actually give Michael Lane this big, huge house as a way to stay in to start over in life, but to also use this place to be his base somewhat. And so this is going to be a new beginning for Michael Lane. And so then we pick up with Michael Lane. Now we do see Michael Lane packing up his old apartment, but while he's doing that, he's confronted by Detective Forelli. Now remember, Officer Forelli was the one who lied to Detective Bullock about the idea that he didn't see anything at all when it came to someone leaving the church. But in reality, he did see someone leave the church. It was Michael Lane. And so this is Forelli saying, I lied to Bullock to protect you because you have gone through so much. But listen here, Detective Bullock is trying to figure out who is the cop killer. But on top of that, he's trying to pin everything he has right now on you because he does know there is a new Azeral. But sooner or later, he's going to find out that you are the new Azeral because I figured out that you are the new Azeral. So you need to watch your back because I can only protect you so much without trying to lose my job and my pension. And so the last 2 pages are really a way for DC to kind of get fans ready for a new Azeral series that was going to take place before the new 52. Because what happened is you see Azeral right now torturing a guy, and this guy had apparently attacked an elderly man for just stopping in the middle of his neighborhood, his hood, apparently. And so this thug beat down on that old man by kicking him over and over again. And so Azeral says, you know what? I'm not going to kill you, but I am going to take your legs away because it was your legs that beat down on that old man. And that right there is not okay. And so you have Azeral actually pull out some swords and cuts off the man's legs and say, yep, I did God's work. And this leads into the new Azeral series that took place right before the new 52 came in and said, nope, reboot. But then we get into Orcale the Cure number 3. Now, you have to remember that when it comes to the Orcale the Cure series, it's all about Orcale fighting against the Calculator. Now, remember, the Calculator is this bad guy who's right now trying to find a cure to bring his daughter out of her coma. And right now he's trying to use the internet. And the reason why, because in the internet, there are still some pieces of the anti-life equation. Because remember, back in Final Crisis, once again, in Final Crisis, when it came to Darkseid trying to spread the anti-life equation around the world, he used the internet. It was the easiest way to get people to look at the anti-life equation and use it on them and break their free will so that he'll be able to actually control them. And so when it came to Orcale and the Calculator, they both realized, but at separate times, that the internet is still holding some pieces of the anti-life equation. And so what you had the Calculator actually do, he went to this virtual world that was made by some video game company as a way to access the internet, change the game around to help him find pieces of the anti-life equation, because he's going to use the anti-life equation as a way to bring his daughter out of her coma, because that's why he's doing all of this for, to bring her out of her coma. But we have to remember that in the last chapter, Orcale and her team in Hong Kong had to shut down their computers as a way to make sure that Calculator couldn't kill them off, because they realized what he was trying to do and they realized they had to stop him. But when they realized they had to stop him, he also realized that who they were. He also realized that he was being followed by Orcale in the internet. And so he was able to do some kind of weird computer attack where at first it seemed like he was attacking their computers, but then he was coming out of their computers literally and trying to kill off Orcale and her team. But luckily for Orcale, she had shut the power off, which of course cut off his connection to their computers so that they'll be able to actually live for another day. But then we jump over to Illinois, where we actually pick up with Larry Rand. Now remember, Larry was actually one of the many hackers that was across the states that were working for Orcale. They were helping Orcale find different pieces of the anti-life equation as a way to get rid of them before somebody like the Calculator was able to use those pieces for his own evil needs. Now with that being said though, Cheese Fiend, another hacker, was the first person to find the actual pieces of the anti-life equation, but she was killed off by the calculator. And so Orcale told Larry, stay away from the internet and get out of your house. Stay away from the virtual world that the calculator is actually using. But of course, Larry could not follow directions. And so he took his avatar into the virtual world that the calculator is actually using. And when Larry got there, he was attacked by the calculator to the point where some weird, crazy way, the calculator was able to give Larry a heart attack by just playing the game. Literally, because he attacked Larry's avatar, he gave Larry a heart attack. This is how crazy the Orcale the Cure storyline actually gets. But then we see Barbara Gordon actually meet up with Corey Wynn. Now, Corey Wynn is actually the creator of the virtual world that the calculator is actually using right now as a way to find different pieces of the anti-life equation. Now, with that being said, though, it's right now Barbara coming to Corey saying, listen, it's still your program. Even though the calculator may have changed the program, you still have a very high amount of access to that program. And so I'm hoping that you'll be able to actually help me find a way to actually defeat the calculator. And what she's actually telling Corey is that what they're going to do is that they're going to insert some kind of mod. And this mod is going to give her the ability to kind of attack the calculator in a very unique kind of way. And hopefully this mod could be a way to actually stop the calculator from actually winning. But then we actually pick up with the calculator. Now, when we do, we see him right now at a jewelry store. Now, this is something I forgot to mention that took place back in the first chapter of Orcale the Cure. But when it came to the calculator, he went to the same jewelry store to pick up a set of diamonds. Now, these diamonds were going to be used as a way for him to kind of bring his daughter out of her coma. And what he's trying to do is that he's putting the different pieces of the anti-life equation that he found on the internet into the diamonds. Now, in the first chapter, he was very upset with the actual owner of the jewelry store because the owner did not follow his directions when it came to the procedure of how the diamonds were actually made. And so when it comes to this chapter, we see the owner is dead, but at the same time, the calculator was able to get his diamonds and begin the process of putting some of the pieces that he found so far of the anti-life equation into the actual crystals that he's trying to use to bring his daughter out of her coma. But then we see Barbara Gordon wake up from her nap. Now, this is the weird part. And honestly, I find it very crazy because you have Corey come over to her and say, hey, listen, I was able to actually finish the mod and put that mod into my avatar. Now, his avatar is actually a small puppy. Now, with this puppy, he'll have a way to actually access a backdoor into the system that belongs to the calculator. Because remember, the calculator did make some kind of virtual workshop in the virtual world that belongs to Corey, the one Corey made. And so Corey said, I have a backdoor way now. And so his avatar dog pees on the wall, which then opens up some pathway that leads into calculator's virtual workshop. And when they get inside, they find Larry Rand's avatar. Now remember, Larry right now is trying to survive after having a heart attack. And so with that, they lick the avatar's face, which somehow cures the avatar. And with the avatar now being okay, Larry is now okay. And so it's kind of like, that's just weird. Either way, you have Barbara now saying that because she has this mod and avatar, she actually has a way to defeat the calculator. And so she leaves the apartment of Corey. Corey says thanks. He also tells her that he does know who she is because she did used to work at the library, but honestly, doesn't matter. And so then we jump back over to the calculator. Now, right now we see him in the real world at first, but then we jump over to his virtual world version, where you have him right now still trying to find different pieces of the anti-life equation to actually use, and then hopefully put those pieces into crystals in the real world to wake up his daughter who's in a coma. Now, with that being said though, that is the moment he's confronted by Barbara Gordon, who has then taken over the virtual avatar of Larry Rance as a way to attack the calculator. And so it does lead into a battle between these two avatars. And really, you have Barbara show who is the better hacker. It's her, not the calculator. And so with their battle going on, what she does next is that she feeds the avatar some different kind of pieces of the anti-life equation, but also different pieces that she had made up because she knows it's going to affect him in the real world. And so when he realized that he is losing, he does log out, but he does head over to the hospital where his daughter is at. And so you then have the calculator actually go over to the hospital because you have to remember he already has some diamonds that did contain some parts of the anti-life equation. Now, the parts he have are not the actual anti-life equation. What I mean by that is he took the life part of the equation, not the anti-life part. And so with the life part, he's hoping that he'll be able to bring his daughter out of her coma, except when he gets to her room and tries to use the diamonds on her, well, he's confronted by Barbara Gordon, who then tells him that the crystals that he has, they basically became useless. She found a way to shut them down before he logged off earlier. And so now it's kind of like, well, great. Can someone find a way to bring her out of her coma? But then she wakes up by herself without any kind of help. And so if the calculator had just waited a tad bit longer before he went around committing murder and doing all these different crimes as a way to bring his daughter out of her coma, she would have came out of it on her own. But either way, now he is going to jail. Now, when she wakes up, she does see police officers taking the man away, and she's freaking out. But this was also another way to lead into another series that DC was going to launch right before the new 52. And matter of fact, they did. It was the new Batgirl series for Stephanie Brown. And so that ends Oracle the Cure. But getting into Battle of the Cowl number 3, we actually do pick up with Dick Grayson realizing what he has to do. He has to become the next Batman. And the reason why, because Gotham is falling apart without having a Batman out there. Now, with that being said, he realized he must take down Jason Todd first, because Jason Todd is the fake Batman that is running around Gotham right now, gun blazing, killing people left and right. And so it's Dick saying, I have to get rid of Jason Todd first, but I also have to find Tim Drake, because he knows that Tim Drake took a Batman suit to go hunt down Jason to hopefully stop Jason, but he has not heard back from Tim at all, which means that Jason must have done something to Tim, possibly had killed Tim off. And so this is Dick saying, I have to take up the mantle of Batman, but before I do that, take out Jason and find Tim. Now, he does realize he can't leave Gotham unprotected. And so what he does, he tells the other heroes that have been in this story to continue on. Keep fighting, continue to fight and protect Gotham, because right now Gotham needs you. But on top of that, I want you guys to figure out who's behind all of this. Because yes, there have been a lot of different things happening, but tonight has been complete chaos. Like somebody wants to actually get rid of Gotham completely. And it's not Penguin, it's not Two-Face, and right now those two characters are the big heads in Gotham City right now. But right now it's not them, it's someone else behind the scenes pulling the strings. And we know it's Black Mask. It's a new Black Mask. But the heroes have no idea that one, it is Black Mask, but two, it's a new Black Mask. And so right now it's Dick saying, I need you guys to continue on to protect Gotham, but figure out who's behind all this mess and trying to blow up Gotham tonight. And so then we actually pick up with James Gordon. Now, when we do, we actually see James Gordon right now telling us, the readers, that the military had to step in. Because Gotham has gotten so bad and it's been going on for so long that the military has no choice but to actually step in and try to regain control of Gotham. Now, to do that, they're trying to go after the two biggest heads of crimes at the moment, which is the Penguin and Two-Face. Because remember, these two right now are causing a gang war in Gotham. And so with that being said, they're trying to find Two-Face. They already got the Penguin, but now it comes down to getting Two-Face. But then we actually pick up with Alfred. Now, you do have Alfred right now trying to just work on the Batmobile. But while he's working on the Batmobile, you do have Damian Wayne try to come from behind and knock out Alfred so that Damian will then have the ability to actually leave the Batcave. Now, you do have Alfred being able to tell Damian that he knows he's trying to come from behind, but you have Alfred tell Damian, listen, you don't have to knock me out. Just go ahead and go. But before you go, I want you to go with Squire. I want you to take this new suit because I know you're trying to help out Gotham. I know you're trying to help make Gotham better for your father. And so with that, I'm not going to stop you. But I do realize that you need to go out there and help Dick because right now Tim is missing. And so this is Damian and Squire leaving the Batcave to hopefully find Tim Drake. We do get a page where we kind of wonder if Tim Drake is actually alive. Like right now he's on the ground, but we have no idea if he's breathing or not. But you do have Jason Todd standing over him. And you have Jason Todd begin the process of actually dragging Tim Drake away to kind of say, you know what, I have an idea what to do with your body. But we have no idea if Tim Drake is actually alive or dead at the moment. But then we pick up with Vicky Vale. Now remember, Vicky Vale is actually this big time reporter in Gotham City. Kind of like Lois Lane, but for Gotham. But with that, right now, she's reporting how bad things have gotten in Gotham. And right now, with the military stepping in, they just trying to help Gotham regain control by going after the different criminals in Gotham like Penguin, Two-Face. Because remember, those two characters are the ones who are causing a lot of different gang wars to happen across Gotham. But on top of that, it was also Black Mask doing more things behind the scenes, make it seem like it was the Penguin and Two-Face causing more problems for Gotham than they actually were. And so right now the military is stepping in trying to regain control. But with Vicky Vale kind of reporting about how bad Gotham has gotten, you do have Black Mask enjoying this. Now remember, this is a new Black Mask. And at this point in DC Comics, we have no idea who this new Black Mask is. Matter of fact, it's kind of like, will we ever find out? Because the way the story ends, we're left to wonder who is Black Mask. But then we actually pick up with Two-Face. Now you have Two-Face just doing the right thing, which is getting out of there. He realized he has lost because now with the military trying to regain control of Gotham and with Gotham going to complete chaos, there's no point for him to actually stay behind. And so this is Two-Face saying, I have to leave. I have to get out of here now before they have the ability to actually grab me and take me away. But then we jump over to Dick Grayson, and you have Dick Grayson being able to find the base of Jason Todd. Now, when he does, of course, he's looking for Tim Drake because he knows Tim Drake came here to confront Jason Todd, to hopefully stop Jason Todd. But the problem is, though, when he does come into the Batcave that Jason Todd has made, he doesn't find Tim Drake. Instead, he finds a message that was left behind by Jason Todd to make it seem like something bad has really happened to Tim Drake. But while you have Dick Grayson walking around the Batcave that belongs to Jason Todd, that is the moment he set a trap for Dick so that he'll be able to catch Dick off guard. And it does lead into a battle between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, but not just yet though. And so then it comes down to Dick Grayson and Jason Todd having a conversation. Now, this conversation is actually very important. And the reason why, because we have to remember, these are the first two Robins ever in DC Comics, like the main DC timeline. Dick Grayson, Jason Todd. But you also have to remember that Jason Todd was killed off by the fans because no one liked Jason Todd, because to them, he was kind of like a carbon copy of Dick Grayson. And so I kind of like the idea of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd fighting against each other because they both want to be Batman. But of course, they're taking the idea of Batman in their own kind of way, especially Jason Todd, because Jason Todd feels like Batman had failed. If Batman was more aggressive, then there could be a possibility that he would not be dead right now. Either way, you actually have Dick Grayson try to play a message that was left behind by Bruce to give over to Jason Todd, to tell Jason that no matter what, he will always be part of the family. But to Bruce Wayne, Jason Todd is Bruce Wayne's biggest failure, because Bruce Wayne tried to fix Jason even before he died, and even when he came back to life. Batman was always trying to help Jason out, to make him better, but Bruce realized he couldn't do it. And so this is Bruce saying, listen, Jason, if you're seeing this message, that means I have died. But I'm really hoping that you'll come back to the family and find these great doctors that I have for you that can actually help you get better. But the problem is, Jason Todd is gone. Like, he has gone so far in his mind that he's like, I don't care. There's no way Bruce cared for me, and there's no way I'm going to listen to this hologram message that Bruce has left behind. And so we jump over to Damian Wayne and Squire. Now, when we do see that right now they're trying to locate Tim Drake. And so while Dick Grayson is dealing with Jason Todd, their main goal is to hopefully find Tim Drake. And matter of fact, we have no idea if Tim Drake is dead or alive, but hopefully he is alive. Either way, it's Squire and Damian working together to find Tim by using their GPS to hopefully locate him, because in the Bat Belt that he took, there's a way to actually track him with that Bat Belt. And so they're hoping they can find him very soon. But then we jump over to Jason Todd and Dick Grayson, and we actually see the two characters right now fighting against one another. But this also shows the different battle styles they have, because when it comes to Jason, he's trying to show why he should be the next Batman, but also showing that he's more aggressive, but also showing us that he'll use what he can around him to help him win a fight. He's not going to play fair, because playing fair is the only way you can make sure that you are going to survive. And for Dick Grayson, he's trying to hold back because he's hoping that he'll find a way to actually help Jason Todd. But at the same time, he's beginning to realize that maybe there is no way to actually help Jason Todd out. And so even though Jason Todd is now playing fair, it's Dick Grayson right now trying to overcome all the different tricks that Jason Todd is trying to do on Dick Grayson. We then kind of find out that Tim Drake is actually okay. He's just trying to get out of the Batcave, but the problem is, because Jason Todd has beaten down on Tim so badly, Tim is having a hard time actually walking and trying to get out of there. And so he does pass right back out. Now, you do have Jason Todd try to blow up his Batcave as a way to kind of bury Dick Grayson and Tim Drake in the Batcave. He has no idea that Damian and Squire are there, but Dick Grayson is able to continue to follow Jason Todd while Damian and Squire are able to save Tim Drake's life. But now it comes down to the final battle between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. And this is the battle to show who is going to be the next Batman for Gotham City. And so now it comes down to the final battle between Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. And when it comes to this final battle, it's really more of Dick Grayson kind of realizing that Jason Todd is gone. There's no way to bring him back to where he used to be before he died. And even if Dick Grayson is able to capture Jason Todd and bring him over to the doctors as a way to hope that maybe those doctors could actually help him, to Dick, there is no way. And so it's kind of like one big final showdown between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. And this battle does go on for a few pages. And at first, you have Jason Todd kind of winning the battle, but it's Dick Grayson being able to bounce back, but to the point where you have Jason Todd actually fall in the river. But this is really more of Dick Grayson kind of saying, I won the battle, which means I run the right to take up the mantle to become the next Batman for Gotham City. And the last few pages are really more of Dick Grayson taking up the mantle to become Batman. Like, he goes back to the Batcave. He is confronted by Damian Wayne and Alfred, which means that this is going to be the set of characters we're going to see very heavily in Grant Morrison's Batman run. But on top of that, we do see Dick Grayson take up the mantle to become Batman. And so Dick Grayson is now officially the new Batman of Gotham City. And so with that being said, guys, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.